Here we are back at the baseball hut, and for the past like 2 years, I've been very level-headed about the New York Mets. But if you're pissed off like I am, and you want to follow content of now an angry Met fan, this is the channel you want to subscribe to. And I welcome all the new subscribers. Got a lot of people in here. The views are going crazy, and I thank you. I am very level-headed. I'm extremely level-headed when it comes to the Mets about what's going on with the team, and I don't fly off the handle. Every day is a grind. You try to deal with things in incremental kind of ways of looking at the ball club. We're close to that 40 game mark. And I've said for years that that's an important mark. Obviously, the next mark is Memorial Day, which is coming up in 2 weeks, and then the 4th of July, and then the All-Star break, and then the trade deadline. I am concerned by the fact that several players have done a terrible job, one of which is Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer has pitched terribly this year. He's been just horrific. Let me give you the numbers. I'll run down the numbers for you. In 5 starts, he's 2-2 with an ERA of 5.56. He's thrown 22 2/3 innings with 22 hits, 14 runs, 14 which are earned, 6 home runs, 10 walks, and 20 strikeouts. About as bad as you could possibly get. Now, I can be mean. I'm tired of the excuses. I know one thing. He's complaining about a neck spasms. Well, when guys are hitting balls off of you, and you're jerking your neck about, your neck is gonna hurt. And I think everybody else's necks are hurting too, because he's become a pain in the neck to watch. The sort of Mad Max kind of act that he has kind of wears very thin when you're trying to hope that the Mets win a World Series and he's not pitching well. That act gets old very fast. Now, he is a future Hall of Famer. And when he arrived here, he arrived with great fanfare. I was very much excited that he was going to be here because he was still pitching well with the Dodgers when they signed him, and he pitched like a superstar the first 2 or 3 months until he got hurt last year, and he struggled to sort of stay healthy. We're going to go through the numbers a little bit of how he's pitched. Really, the last 7 starts of what he's done the last 2 years. But I am tired of some of the excuses. I was livid, absolutely pissed off that Scherzer would get himself in a situation where he'd get himself thrown out of a game because his hands were too sticky. I mean, it doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good for the ball club. Now, he's a Hall of Famer, that's no doubt. But that's just ridiculous. And I don't want to hear, he wouldn't have done anything, and brings up his children and his wife and everything. Just get the job done. All these excuses. And I would mention, I'm tired of hearing Francisco Lindor say that the other teams played well. You have to start playing better. Max Scherzer is one of these guys. He's got to start pitching better. I've not been, obviously, he's not been impressive this year. Let's take a step back. Last year, his last 2 starts, and I'll give you the overall numbers in the last 7 starts. You won't believe these numbers. On October 1st, he pitched against the Braves in that big series. All the Mets needed was 1 win in that game, in that series. Scherzer pitched against the Braves, against Kyle Wright. The Mets were winning 1-0 going into the 4th inning. And he began to take water. In that 4th inning, he gave up a run. In that 5th inning, he gave up 2 runs. In the 6th inning, he gave up 1 run. And the Mets lost the game 4-2. In that game, he pitched 5 2/3 innings, gave up 9 hits, 4 runs, 4 of which were earned, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. Not going to cut it. And obviously it didn't cut it because the Mets got swept Jacob deGrom on Saturday had nothing, did not pitch much better, and Chris Bassett didn't even bother to show up on Sunday. On October 9th, the first playoff game the Mets have had since 2016, and the first playoff game at Citi Field since 2016, Scherzer was even worse, if that's possible, against the San Diego Padres. He pitched 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 7 runs scored, 7 which were earned, 4 strikeouts, and 4 home runs. And I believe he threw a wild pitch in that game. Now, in the 7 starts, which include this year, and the last start in Atlanta that he had in the regular season, and the first game of the wild card series against the San Diego Padres. Now, he did pitch well the game prior against the Braves, which was against the Oakland A's. And he did win his last start against the Marlins this year. But since that start against the Braves, check these numbers out. You will be shocked at the numbers, because I was adding them up a little while ago. In 7 starts, he's 2-4 with an ERA over 6. 33 innings pitched, 38 runs scored, 38 of which are earned. I'm sorry, let me start over. In 33 innings, 38 hits, 22 earned runs, 28 strikeouts. That's 1 strikeout. It was like less than 1 strikeout an inning now. This guy's got over 3,000 strikeouts. And really the most outrageous number of the 7 starts is 12 home runs. Now he's one of these pitchers that will give up home runs. But 12 home runs in 7 games, 7 starts? Come on, man. Get with it. Get with the program. It's time to wake up. Now, I said in other videos that maybe he needs to relearn how to pitch now. That he clearly cannot throw at 95 miles an hour and not have his body break down. Because his body's breaking down. Maybe he needs to learn how to change how he pitches. Not do max effort. No pun intended. But the numbers do not lie. Over the last 7 starts, he has not been even a major league starter. So you wonder why the Mets did not go to postseason further, why they didn't win the division, even though the division was tied. This explains why the Mets have gone off to a slow start, why the Mets did not beat the Padres. If Scherzer had pitched well against the Padres, deGrom would have shut the Padres down, which he did, and they would have went on to the divisional series. But he didn't bother to show up. Now we know in 21 he did not pitch well in the last series that the Dodgers had. He said that he didn't pitch enough, that the Dodgers didn't pitch him enough in September. An excuse. Have to get the job done. You cannot make excuses when you are at this level. And he's making $43.5 million since 2022. He still has this year's contract, and he has a player opt-out, but he will take that option. There's no doubt in my mind. He's going to go crazy with that option. He will exercise it. This is a major disappointment for a lot of fans. And I know how angry the Met fans are, because we want to win. The Met fans, we want to win. We don't want to watch a team that struggles. We don't want to watch a team that can't hit. We want the Mets to win and be great again. And that's all we're asking. That's all I'm asking. This pitching is not great. Now, I also mentioned in a previous video that this team might have gotten old right away. They built so much into winning last year. They really overachieved. A lot of people were not picking them to win 101 games last year. They might have overachieved due to the fact that they had a high level of play for most of the season, and they might have hit that wall in September. That's not an excuse. It's just an observation on the age of this team, and just based off of what they've done in the past. It made no sense that there was this dramatic drop-off all of a sudden. I'll give you a couple examples if you're a Met fan. Gary Carter. He played great for the first 2 years. He played like a Hall of Fame the first 2 years with the Mets. And in 87, he had a lot of injuries. But 88, he got off to a great start. He looked like an all-star. The first 6 weeks of that season, he had 8 home runs. And then all of a sudden, nothing. People said that had to do with the fact that he was dealing with pressure of hitting home run number 300. That wasn't it. He had nothing left. The light went out. Howard Johnson. From 87 to 91, he was one of the best home run hitters in baseball, culminating with him winning the home run title and the RBI title in 91. And then in 92, it was like a total power outage, and he was not the player that he was. He could not hit a fastball like he had. We might have a situation here with this group of guys that they may have gotten old all at once. Marte, Canna, Scherzer, and obviously with the injury to Diaz doesn't help. But that's probably what we've seen here as a total, complete aging of this ball club all of a sudden. That's a possibility. It's not an excuse, but it might be a possibility. And, that's the risk you take when you do not have a farm system that can develop pitching. And right now, the Met farm system is not nearly where it needs to be in terms of developing its pitching. They're very good now with the sort of development of their everyday players. Like Alvarez is not the only catcher they have in their system. We have Kevin Parada. So the Met farm system, in terms of the positional players, are actually in very good shape. Obviously, they got 2 position players in the minor leagues that are close to the majors. We also have Alex Ramirez. But the pitching in the Mets minor league system is just not there yet to help. And when you rely on older pitchers, this is the kind of circumstance you put yourself in. And that's what the Mets have done here. But is Max Scherzer done? He might be. He might be done. And he probably can't handle being a mediocre pitcher now, or being a bad pitcher. I mean, these numbers are bad. And his numbers were excellent last year. ERA of 2.29, 10.7 strikeouts per 9 innings last year, which was his career average. But 7.9 this year. The walk total, let me get into this. For this year, is 4 walks per 9 innings. So in 22 2/3 innings, he has walked 10 batters. And Max Scherzer the last few years has been under 2, or around 2. It's 2.4 in his career. But there were years with the Nationals, his walk total was under 2.0 per 9 innings. So this guy's control is shit right now. And the way he's pitching is garbage. And he's got to get it going if this team has a shot. First thing this team's got to do is straighten out this pitching. And there's no help coming down the line. And you can't really move any of these young players, with this older team. So the Mets are kind of in a weird box. They have to get They have to get healthy first and then get effective. Once they do that, we can figure out. And with the extra wild card, the Mets aren't out of this by any stretch of the imagination. But I will mention this. And please keep this in mind. I don't like having to say this. But they are 1 game in front of the Nationals. And the Nationals did take 2 out of 3 from Citi Field when they played them a couple weeks ago. So there could be a chance the Mets could be coming at Washington in last place. That is a possibility. And the fact that they didn't know yesterday who was going to start any of the games in Washington should trouble everybody and be a major concern. Not only for myself, but for Buck Showalter, Billy Epler, and really for everybody that works for the Mets. This is a big problem. So hopefully Scherzer will get it together. It didn't seem like there's much concern around baseball about the Mets. I am concerned as a fan. And this has nothing to do with the past. This has something to do with this team, and that's it. They have a lot of talent. You look at their baseball cards, they have a lot of talent. They put up a lot of big numbers over the years. They've got to get it going now. Now's the time. We've had almost 40 games into this. We need to get this thing righted and finished. And again, I'll ask this question. Is Max Scherzer done? Time will tell. Thank you for watching this video. Live streams will be coming up soon in the next few weeks. So we'll be talking about the Mets and what they're going to do at the trade deadline. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you later, and have a good day.